Oh, I need to set up my headphones. I always do this. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Ah, went rushing to walk the dog. Sorry for the delay, guys. Good morning, 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 morning. Let's see here. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday. Super excited with today's guest. I see her in the box. Good morning. Got my coffee ready. Ready for chats. So just waiting for Purple to join. I think I sent the invite. Let's try one more time. Morning, morning. Oh, oops. Good morning. There we are. Good morning, good morning. I was rushing. I was like, hurry up. And my dog loves to sunbathe. So, of course, he wants to go outside first thing in the morning. And then right now he's like, let's go again. But really, he lied to me. He just wanted to sunbathe. So, sorry, we're starting late, everybody.
Good.
So,
It's not
happy
that
Sunday.
bad.
No, not too
Happy
bad.
Sunday.
Super excited for today's guest. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yes, it's gonna be great.
It's going to be
I can't
fantastic.
wait.
Yes. So, to those who are new to the show, Sundays we do brunch chats with different artists and get to know a little bit about them. So, I'm Priscilla.
I'm Purple, aka Yessie.
hmm So,
And
we're just, go ahead. I'm going to take a sip.
I,
Calm down. I was running. I was like, go.
I'm over here just chilling, like do. Got everything all set up and ready to go. And I'm like, all right. She says she's gonna be a minute. Okay. In La La.
Yeah. Meanwhile, my coffee's already melted from this morning. I've just been
Oh,
going nonstop. I know. So I'll be drinking. I
that's
mean,
you all
it's
the
kind
time.
of cold
Nothing
still.
new.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. So without further ado, let's request that she join. They send the invite. Okay, just sent the invite. So, if you're not aware, our guest for today is going to be Candy Bolton. The
Yes.
Candy Bolton.
Hey.
Ah, there she
Hi.
is.
I made
Hey.
it this time. I'm here.
Yes. I'm so glad. So glad. Are you feeling much better from like all the jet lag and all the planning, everything that you've been doing this whole
Oh
time?
yeah.
You've been going
Actually,
nonstop.
I didn't have jet lag because I just traveled down to like Southern California. So I don't really have an excuse in that case, but I was just feeling, exhausted from traveling in general, which
Well,
I
you
think
had the
I've
show
recovered from.
too. Yeah, the
Oh
show in
yeah.
itself is draining, so I can imagine.
Yeah, just like talking to everyone is really draining for me because I think I'm very much an introvert. So that takes a lot of
Mhm.
energy from me.
Definitely, definitely. And it looked like such an amazing turnout. All the pieces, of course, were gorgeous, but just getting to see it all come together, that was amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, the turnout was really great. Everybody enjoyed the opening, so I'm happy about that, that people had a good time. There were even people that just like happened upon the show randomly. They were from like out of town and they just, happened to stop by at the right time. So that was really cool to see.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Awesome.
Um, I just went straight into it without even introduction, so I guess we can start on that. For those that aren't familiar, if you want to introduce yourself and a little bit about you, I guess we could start there.
Okay, I'm Candy Bolton. I'm an artist. I do paintings and stuff, but also I design toys and I customize toys.
And so, how long have you been in the designer toy world specifically?
I think it's close to like 8 years now.
That's awesome. What, I guess how did that transition happen for you? Because I stumbled upon it and I think you were one of the first artists that I seen. And I was like, what is this? What's this world? And people are mixing like traditional on a 3D platform. So how did you happen upon it?
I started as a collector because I was interested in collecting like vintage kaiju toys. And then while looking for those on eBay, I happened to find like Konatsu's Nagora toy. And from there, I found like Real Head toys and I started collecting his fortune cats. And so it's really a bunch of cat toys that got me into it. And from there, I just started following other designers and collaborating with other toy companies and yeah, it really went fast after that. I think it was like 2014 that I started initially.
That's awesome.
Was
And
your first custom a cat?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
I
I was gonna
believe I'm pretty sure it was a Nagora toy.
ask. Do you have cats?
I have one cat, but I
Oh,
grew up like with cats and all kinds of animals actually. I kind of grew up on a farm in like a very rural town and had many, many animals. And then when I grew up and got my own place, I was like, I'm just having one cat, that's enough.
oh, just one
Had
cat.
more than enough growing up,
Yeah,
just
that's
don't need to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, because I still like really love animals, like all types of animals. I don't just exclusively like cats. I just know that like of the full responsibility it takes to like have certain animals, and I'm like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to take that on. Also, I like to travel a lot whenever it's possible, so it's hard enough leaving my cat alone by herself. I always feel really guilty about that.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Does she seem like unfazed? She's like, "Oh, you." Or do you notice like a behavior change when you return?
Oh, she's definitely like sad when I'm gone. And then when I
Oh,
come back, she's like really happy and she like celebrates and runs around the house meowing at me.
because my
Isn't that
dog,
the best when they just get so excited to see you after you've been away? It's like, oh, this just makes it all so much better. I don't ever want to leave you again.
Yeah, but I feel bad about it still.
yeah, my dog was like that, but I just felt, yeah, I felt the guilt because for him it was like you abandoned me, and it's like I was just gone for 2 days, not even 2 full days.
Yeah, separation anxiety.
Exactly, exactly. And then it's like they don't want to leave your side.
Yeah.
Okay, so the rural town that you were talking about that you grew up in, was it in California or was it in a different country or?
Yeah, it's just in California. I actually haven't moved very far from there. I'm only like a 40-minute drive
Oh,
from
that's
where I
awesome.
was like where I grew up. But it's kind of in between. Like I live in the Sacramento area now, that's the capital. And then it's in between Sacramento and Lake Tahoe, and that's where I grew up. So it's like in the foothills. It was just a very, very small town. Gosh, I can't remember the population when I lived there, but it was small, and we only had like one stoplight in the whole city.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. That's awesome. I grew up in Ceres, but it wasn't that small. So a little bit near Modesto, for those that aren't familiar with the area. Yeah, so the rural town, and then going from that to like seeing all the cities you've been visiting, like even Japan and everything, it's like a major contrast, right? Like, was that intimidating to get into the world of traveling? I feel like for me it was starting.
Yeah, it was like I used to be kind of scared of traveling actually and flying, and especially like doing it by myself because I'm usually like traveling by myself to most of these shows. And it was a hurdle to get over. I didn't like it at first. I would get so stressed out, and the way that I cope with it though is just like over preparing, and sometimes like to the point that like it's probably bad that I'm like preparing way too much and like overpacking, but then that helps me feel like, well, I've got it then. Like there's nothing that can get in my way. I'm fully prepared now.
Yeah. Yeah, I could imagine. For
What
me,
is one of your
oh, go
favorite
ahead.
places that you've been to so far?
It's definitely Japan. I want to go back so bad. Like just as soon as I went there, well, like my first trip, I made it in I think it was like late 2013, and I thought that like this is my one and only chance to go there. This is the only time I'm gonna go, but that's okay because I've been like dreaming about it my whole life. I've been wanting to go. And I went, and then after that I was like, okay, well, I want to go back again. And then I went back like I think I've been there definitely over 10 times now.
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome. What's been your favorite part about visiting Japan? Like if you had to choose one thing.
It's probably the food, but there's a lot of
Oh,
things beyond that to enjoy for sure.
yeah, I'm definitely dying to go to Japan too. Somebody said, everybody's saying good afternoon. Hi, chat. Sorry. We just started chatting and not trying to ignore anybody.
Is the food different than what you would have at a Japanese place in California that says they're authentic?
Yeah, I think so. Like it's hard to find that same level of like, oh gosh, like so they make their food differently there, even if you're going to like a sushi place, like their sushi is very different from what we have here. Like I'd say that the maki like roll style of sushi that we have here is kind of it's like not the norm in Japan. You can
Oh,
find it, but it's not like usually it's just like nigiri, sashimi, that kind of thing. So the rolls feel like uniquely American. So it's different in that way. But I did find when I was in LA just the other week or so, I did find a few like Japanese restaurants that felt very genuine and made me like reminded me of my time in Japan.
Oh, nice.
that's awesome. Let's see. So I have a list, super fancy list that I put together, chicken scratch of questions. We've had some questions asked, and so just got them here compiled. One of them being it had to do with your Sofubi journey. So I guess what inspired you to develop your own Sofubi platform?
Um, well, when I just realized that like I could do it, then I wanted to well, I was given the opportunity to collaborate with Max Toy and design my first toy that was Kitsura, the fox character. And I was just, I had always been obsessed with foxes and kitsune in particular in Japanese mythology and lore. I had studied up a lot about it and read a bunch of books about like the mythology behind them. So that was why I created that character. And then each character from there, it was kind of like um, always based on some kind of like mythology that I thought was really interesting and just something that I wanted to create here because like with the fox, for example, like I was always like collecting little like fox figurines at the time. And then it's like, well, I just really want like this fox, this one particular fox figurine. So I'll make it myself and, you know, I'll put my own style into it and, you know, make it how I want to make it. So it's always like, it comes from this desire of like, I want this thing. It doesn't exist, so I will create this thing myself.
That's amazing. And just the fact that you're able to kind of, yeah, I think we kind of, as artists, right, we want to bring in something that isn't already in the world. And so the fact that you're able to, I don't know, for me, like Sofubi so intimidating. So it's like, what made you decide on Sofubi versus vinyl or resin? Because I think you've had, I don't know, you've had resin platforms already as well, right? But I don't know, have you had vinyls as well?
Yeah, like the
You've had
Kid
all,
Robot.
oh, okay.
Yeah, because I mean, you could say that Sofubi is the same thing as vinyl, like the vinyl toys that Kid Robot and stuff makes, but because chemically they're the same. It's just that it's more about the manufacturing process that's different. But then that leads to differences in how they look because they have to be manufactured in a certain way.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, I think the whole process seems so intimidating to me. So it's like amazing to get to hear your journey in discovering each of these and how they kind of worked for you and how you got there. So Thank you
So
again.
do you make resins?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. I tried making those for a little while. It was really fun, and I made a few molds, but I was very, very allergic to resin, so I had to stop.
Oh
Oh,
no. Oh my
that's not
gosh.
something that you would just know too, unless you're working with it.
Yeah, I had to just like try it and figure it out for myself. And I got this crazy rash that was like all over my face. And I was like, what's going on? How did this happen? And I went
Yeah.
to the doctor a few times and they're just like, we don't know. And then they prescribed me a bunch of stuff that I used and like it didn't even like it wasn't even intended like for the allergy, because they didn't know that I had a resin allergy. And they said that there's no way they could test for it, like, unless I brought in the substance into the doctor and then was like, hey,
Yeah.
test this on me. Um, so yeah, I had to figure it out on my own and it was kind of scary. But then after that, I was like, well, it happens every time that I cast resin. So I guess I should try just not casting resin anymore. And that seems to work, unfortunately.
Oh wow. Was it just like a skin reaction? Like the, oh my gosh, I would be terrified if that happened.
Yeah, it was
That
so
had to be
weird
scary.
because like I used protective gear, like I used gloves, I used the mask. I was like fully covered and everything, but because it's just like you can't see, it's like fumes or something. And I guess I have really sensitive skin and it reacted. I had a really bad reaction to it. It was like a red rash that went all the way like on my
Oh my
face, on my
gosh.
neck, like, and it was like red and bumpy. So yeah, it was pretty bad.
Wow.
Have you noticed anything else like that working with certain types of paints or airbrush or anything like that?
I'm lucky that I haven't because I do use a lot of different paints and some pretty harsh chemicals. I'm using lacquer thinner all the time and just like pouring it all over my hands and like, it goes through the gloves sometimes. But I've luckily had no reactions to lacquer thinner and vinyl thinner. So like the lacquer and vinyl based paints, I've been totally okay with. Working with like vinyl. Well, I haven't like I've been to like a Sophie B factory a few times, had no issues with that. So it's really just the resin, I guess. And I've heard that there are some types of resins that are like more like organic or natural or something to that extent to where they are like
Hmm.
easier on you and less harsh chemicals are used in them. I haven't tried those out yet because I'm kind of just like scared of it in general. So I'm like, oh, I
Yeah,
guess
for sure.
I won't try it. I'm just not gonna do it. But it was super cool at first. It just was like, wow, you can make toys, you can make sculptures and stuff and reproduce them in your own home. And that was a really cool experience.
So it's like you wouldn't even be able to have the option of like 3D printing at home, huh? Like
Oh,
that would be risking it too.
is 3D printed stuff resin?
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, I
I
think
didn't
it's
even know.
it's UV cured. So, I mean, I think those like I've had a couple of friends tell me that there's some biodegradable resins that they use, but it's like a liquid form. So the same thing. It's like lots of little layers of curing. So it's like what would the
Uh,
vapor release look like on that?
I haven't even thought of that, but yeah, I did consider getting a 3D printer for a while. So I guess I'll just always like have to have a friend that has one and then
Yeah,
they'll have to print
exactly.
stuff for me.
Right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see.
How was it checking out the Fubi factories and all of that?
Oh, that's always really fun. It's cool because, well, when you hear factory, like people usually think that it's like this really big operation with like a ton of people working there. But the Japanese sofubi factories that I visited were very small. It was usually like, I mean, some as small as just like one person that works there, or like,
Wow.
maybe a team of like 5, 10 people max, like working there. And I took some videos of the operation at the Japanese factory that I've been using for Kitsura. and it's Shikoduna's factory. And I have a video on my reels on Instagram just showing like a tour of that. So there's a bunch of like machinery. You get to watch the process, them like pouring the vinyl in. They like set timers and they like pour the excess out, and like I don't know, there's like a thing that like spins it around. It's all about like getting the air bubbles out of the material, and then like baking it for a certain amount of time, making sure that it's like cured and everything, and then you can pull it out. But yeah, it's really cool to see the process. Sometimes they let you pull it out yourself. And it's kind of a challenge, like because they set up like this metal mold thing, and you get pliers and gloves, and you have to like pull it out really hard. It's kind of like surprising. Sometimes it's like really, really hard, and they're like, oh, there's a trick. You have to like lift up first and then pull it out. And each mold is like different in that way, where they have to learn how much vinyl to pour in. Like they're actually weighing like the amount that they're pouring in and everything. And then there's little tricks of like, well, you have to pull it out a certain way to get it out of there. Yeah, like each design is different, and the factory just like gets more familiar with your design as they work with it more.
Sorry, I'm looking over the questions. So one of the questions was asking about how you discovered your Sakura style, as far as how you layer the different and the masking. It's amazing. So I guess how did you come up with that, or where did that come from?
Yeah, well, I think my very first like inspiration to do Sakura was like way back when I first started painting toys, and I would just like hand paint it. So I wanted to find an easier way to recreate that. And I think my first inspiration for the Sakura was probably like Sakura Miku, because there's the Hatsune Miku character, and I noticed that when I go to Japan, like during springtime, they would always have the Sakura Miku designs out, like at the UFO catchers in arcades and stuff. And I'd always try to get the Sakura Miku, and they'd have like little like anime figurines of her, and she had this really pretty Sakura design. I just thought it was so cute, so pretty. So I wanted to try to recreate it on Sofubi. And the whole like idea of the sakura shape, it actually works very well for when I'm using the Cricut Maker and cutting out my own stickers. And the shape is just like, it has to be like this shape that's big enough to where the machine can cut it accurately. And so like I use little stars and small like patterns and stuff, but the sakura are like perfect for the machine somehow. And so I've just been like, I keep doing that over and over. Sometimes I feel bad, like, oh, I'm using Sakura patterns too much, but people seem to like it. So I don't know. I don't think I should feel that bad about it.
No, not at all. Your style's very unique. It's very vibrant, and it's very for the time now that with anime getting so hyped up, with that style becoming more popular, it's like you're right where you need to be with it.
Okay, yeah. I'm glad people like it.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And it looks so complex, and you make it look so easy. So that's what's amazing is just watching the layering. And then when you're removing the mask, it's always like, what's going to be under?
Oh yeah, and doing all the layers, like that was hard. I had to learn how to do that. Because I first started sticker masking, and it was like just a challenge of like how to do it and not have like paint go under the sticker, having like when you peel it off, there's always like the danger of it peeling off like a layer of paint with
Mhm.
the sticker and everything. So like just learning how to like do sticker masking properly, and then from there like doing more and more layers of it. And like I also tried doing like little scenes, like there's one where I did like bamboo in the background and like different layers of like flowers and plants and stuff. And then also playing around with then like what the vinyl type is, because when it's like glow in the dark vinyl, then I'll try to incorporate that into that. And that's when I was doing like fireworks designs and stuff, because like with all the fireworks part, that was like, I used clear paint for that so that the vinyl would show through. And then when you like have it, when you have the figure like in a dark room, that's like only the fireworks are like very, very bright. So trying to like find creative ways to work with it and, you know, making like a cool little scene has been really fun. And I want to do more of that.
What's been like the most layers you've done? Have you ever like counted up to, you know how you see the nail polish layers? Have you ever gotten anywhere where you're pushing it?
Yeah, I think actually I have a toy on my website right now. It was designed by Teresa Chiba. It's her character Inu Harigon, but it's like a really big version of it. I think it's like it's maybe like that big. I have it, but it's in a box somewhere. But it's probably like just right over here somewhere. And gosh, it was so many layers, but at a certain point, like I lose track of what colors I'm using, and I'm just like, well, I don't know, I'll wing it, you know, like I don't like prepare this out like on Photoshop or anything beforehand. I'm just usually winging it, and then I don't know, like because all the other layers are covered, so I completely forget what colors I had used before. And so sometimes it turns out great, other times I'm just like, it's okay, but people still seem to like it, so it works out.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of creates its own individual element each time, like even with each piece. Because you're not, when you're masking and you're working on a run, do you mask in the same spot? Like this one's going to go over this ear and then all pieces are aligned, or do you just kind of place on each?
Um, when it comes to like placing the little sakura and stuff, I'm
Mhm.
definitely doing it different on each piece. Like I will try to do it sometimes like similarly, but it's they're never exactly the same for sure.
Yeah, so it makes each one a one off. And then like your transparent ones too. Oh my gosh, those were like you said, the one with the fireworks, but that was a glow in the dark. But when you went
Yeah.
completely clear, oh my gosh, those, yeah, you've mastered it. It's just amazing to see each, even though you feel like you're repetitive or you're, no, I disagree. I feel like, yeah, we definitely appreciate each variation that you've done.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I always love painting on clear vinyl. I try to preserve the vinyl so that it's like you don't completely cover it up, and that it makes the paint job that I do like more unique by showing that clear quality.
Yeah, and they're gorgeous. They're stunning. I mean, for me, I feel like I don't do mock-ups. If I do, it's like chicken scratch. So if I were to wing it, I would end up, yeah, it would take me a very long time to figure out how to mask it. Like I do these checkers. Actually, I have one right here. And these give me anxiety. And it's just one layer of squares. It's not even detailed. So like how long do you think it took you to master the masking without having, or do you still, like, even to this day, experience some of those issues?
I still have some issues where like I'll make a mistake and like peel a sticker off and then like too much paint comes up with it and then I have to go back and fix it. So I've learned ways to fix it, but I've also learned that when you go back and try to fix something, sometimes you just make it even worse. So you kind of just have to like cut your losses sometimes. But I think, gosh, like if I was looking at my Instagram feed, I can pinpoint exactly when I first attempted it, and I want to say it was like maybe 2018 or 2019, and I've been doing it since then.
That's pretty awesome. For the show that the exhibit that you just had at Giant Robot, how long were you working on the pieces for that? Was that something that you had planned out for a while, or was it like go, go, go within a matter of months? How,
That I think I found out in February that I would be doing that show in May, and it really felt like, okay, this is enough time, sure, but it wasn't. And I felt like so rushed. And even though like I did sketch out a plan of like all the paintings that I would do, I have it right here. Like I did this and I felt like, well, I'm kind of prepared now, but I only ended up doing like maybe three of these designs, and the rest
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, I didn't do many paintings in general. That was so hard. That was probably one of the hardest shows for me to prepare for, and I'm really glad it's over now and it was successful, and now I can start working on other things. But I had to try it because this is like the most amount of paintings I prepared for one show before. Usually I'm just painting toys all the time. And if I'm in an art show, then I'm doing like one painting and just, participating in a group show. This was a duo show, so it was like the closest thing to a solo show that I've done. And having it being like mostly paintings, it was just really, really hard. I greatly respect anyone who is a professional artist and makes their full income from paintings, because I don't know how you make it work. It's really, really hard. Doing toys is like, it's easier to sell the toys. Maybe that's just in particular for me because that's like most of my fan base knows me for my toys. But yeah, it's just, it gave me a newfound respect for artists. Not that like I didn't have any respect for them to begin with, but people who exclusively sell paintings, like they're, it's a hard life to live, like if that's your sole income. And I knew that it was something that I wanted to attempt, and I did it. And I think that I have learned a lot of new skills from the process.
But would you ever do it again?
I probably will because I'm stupid and I don't learn from my mistakes. But I hope that it's maybe a little easier for me next time.
Yeah, not within 3 months. Yeah, that's and how many pieces was it total, including the toys and the paintings?
I think it was seven different paintings and two different toy designs that I painted. Um, yeah, it was also hard because I was working on other stuff at the same time, because it's like so hard to just stop what you're doing and only work on one show. So like I was also getting like commissions. Like most commissions, I try to tell people like, I'm sorry, I can't. Like I'm preparing for this show, I can't do it. But there were some that had like deadlines, like they needed it for certain events and things like that. And also trying to like keep a steady income while you're preparing for this show. It was,
Mhm.
yeah, it's such a challenge, really hard.
And I loved the technique that you incorporated with also masking them. Like the massive roll of masking tape and then just seeing it executed. It was amazing.
Yeah, I really wanted to incorporate the techniques that I've learned from painting toys. So that's why I was using the sticker masking and also like focusing on like airbrushing, because I thought that that should be a unique thing to incorporate. Not everyone knows how to airbrush, not everyone knows how to do sticker masking. So yeah, I think I want to do more of that on my paintings in the future.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, just and then just watching the process. Because yeah, like you said, it was taking your toy techniques and incorporating it onto a larger scale. So then before designer toys, were you doing any form of art, or did you have like any training, or did you do any schooling or whatnot?
Um, I had just always been drawing ever since I was really little. I was always like the artsy kid in the class, like people would ask me on group projects to do the artwork for it. And I would always, if there was like an art competition, I would always win it. But like also my parents kind of always told me like this can't be your career though. So like don't focus on that. Like we know you like drawing, but like that's just for fun. So I actually kind of avoided like taking any formal training, taking classes. And when I started college, I didn't put like a huge emphasis on it. And then like partway through like taking classes, I was like, well, I think maybe graphic design could work because like that seems more realistic and maybe I can actually get a job doing that. So I took like maybe one or two graphic design classes, and I was still like, I was just a receptionist at a hair salon at the time, but I happened to get a job being like an in-house graphic designer at a hot rod shop. And then I worked there for 5 years. And so that got me used to like, I did get to be creative and do artwork there, like for a living, but it was very like, just whatever the client wanted and in their style too that represented their brand. But yeah, then after that I was able to like, after doing that for 5 years, then I switched over to doing art full time.
Wow. Yeah, you reminded me of the art school competitions. I forgot about that. Yeah, because it they go to you right away to, can you do this? Can you draw this? And then I always felt so guilty whenever I'd win. I'd be like, don't announce it. I'm not trying to be anybody. I don't know, like when it came to the school competitions, that's kind of how I was like, don't look at me.
Yeah, there was one time where they had like gosh, it was like world peace poster competition, and I won it, and I had to go on stage to like accept the award, and I really didn't want to do it. Like I just wanted to like stay sitting in the crowd, but then everyone like was yelling at me to get on the stage, and I didn't want to do it.
I feel
But
that.
yeah, that poster like it ended up going, it was like on display in the Capitol building or something, and it was supposed to
Wow.
like, and then if you like
Wow.
uh if there were other like tiers of competition that you'd get placed in, so it would like travel across the United States or something. I didn't get that far. I got to the Capitol building, but that was still cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Wow. What grade was this in?
Well, I was in middle school, so
Oh,
I don't
wow.
know, I think I was maybe like 10 or 11.
Mhm. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Yeah, and then just like, sorry guys. Because it's like you feel that pride. You put in all the time and effort, but it's not like, yeah, it puts you in a weird space, I feel like. Like I recently transferred to another office for work, and they found out I was an artist, and then they were like announcing to everybody. I was like, shh, shh. I'm gonna go hide under a rock now. So
Do your
just
friends do that to you, like on a personal level? Like they just expect certain things from you, or they're like, hey, can you help me with this?
I think, yeah, maybe like early into my career, they were like, and I don't know if they were doing it as like, to like help me out, like, hey, I'll like, you can paint like this thing for me, like customize my Game Boy case and things like that. But then I think my friends realized that like it was actually like it's hard for me, and that it's I have so many commissions, and I'm so busy and like stressed about finishing all my artwork that like they realized, oh, don't we shouldn't ask her like to do art things for us anymore because it's just gonna stress her out.
yeah, yeah,
But I
for
did
sure.
get like so many requests for tattoos. Usually that's the first thing when someone finds out that I can draw, then they're like, "Can you design a tattoo for me?" And it's like, well, I mean, I could maybe, but I usually try to tell them like find a good tattoo artist and have them draw the tattoo because I'm not a tattoo artist. Like there's a certain way that you need to like have the artwork done, and I don't want to like interfere with that at all. Like I'm not, yeah, don't come to me asking for tattoo designs. I've agreed for like one friend. There's only one friend where I said like, yeah, I'll do your tattoo because it was like a really cool design that I'm pretty passionate about. The It's based on the Okami game, with the wolf character, and I like Kitsune and I like wolves a lot, and I like drawing them. So I was like, okay, I'll do it like this one time, but I haven't done it yet. And she asked me about it like I think over a year ago, so I feel pretty bad about that. I need to like get on it.
Yeah, but it is kind of a tough balance because it's like well, for me too, with each thing that I got into, like I tried tattooing for a little bit, And that was insanely tough. All the different textures and all the different, like you said, the body parts are different. But I always had people like, oh, you could do practice on me, practice on me, practice on me. And then it becomes a point where, I mean, tattoo, I obviously gave up on. But it's like with anything that you're making into a career, it makes it difficult to balance those projects with what's going to be like a sustainable, like consistent form of income. So I could see, yeah, that would be a hard balance. But for the tattoo comment, have you had a lot of people get your work tattooed? Just any design that you've done? Like, do people approach you and request, or do you just see tattoos pop up of your work?
There's been a few. I mean, not too many, probably like under 10 people have my work tattooed on them. And that's a totally different thing. If they like find some of my artwork that they love and they want tattooed on them, I always tell them like, sure, go ahead. And they'll like, if they come to me and ask me permission, I'll always say yes, just that I want to see pictures of it afterwards because I'm interested to see it.
Yeah.
But if they're asking for me to personally design the
Yeah.
tattoo for them, I'm always like, I don't know. It
Yeah.
depends.
Yeah, I
Depends on if
agree.
it's something that I think is cool and I want to do.
Yeah.
We see that you have tattoos. Where did you get your tattoos from? Did you get any in Japan or?
I have one that I got while I was in Japan, but these ones on my arms are from San Jose, actually. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
When I
state
saw
of
that, I was
grace.
like, oh my gosh. And they do traditional, don't they? Or do they use the machine?
He's only used the machine on me. I think if I asked, he would do tabori, but it's a slower process, and I heard it's more painful. So I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, it would be really cool to do it like just for like a video though, because it looks so cool to see him doing that. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll ask him. I've been thinking about like getting more by him recently because we just finished my sleeves
Yes.
and it's great. And now I'm kind of sad that like I don't have that like whole tattoo shop trip to like look forward to anymore.
Oh,
Yeah, just the like it's very painful and it's a hard thing to go through because when I go, it's like a pretty long drive for me. So I only go if I can do like a whole day appointment. And that's like 8 hours of being tattooed. So it's kind of rough. Um, and then like the next day, sometimes you're like too sore to like even do anything. You just want to like lay in bed all day.
mhm.
But I don't know. His work is just so cool, and I've been thinking of getting more.
Yes. Can't stop there. I know, me too. I'm like, I have them sporadically everywhere, but it's like, what do I get next? I don't know. So have you decided on like an area, what would you do? You have your back done as well, or just
No, I
sleeves?
don't have my back done. I just have like the back of my right thigh, the fronts of my thighs, my arms, and then the back of my neck. So I have quite a lot of space left. I'd love to get my legs filled up, but I don't know. I think I'm thinking more towards like getting a whole bodysuit done recently.
Yeah. Oh, that would be
Wow.
amazing.
It's just such a cool look, you know. Like some
Yeah.
people are completely like filled with like this
Mhm.
really like a design, you know, that all like works together. And I don't know, the traditional like Irozumi Japanese style tattoos are just I've always really been in love with them and I think they're gorgeous. So I don't know. I might go in that direction.
Do they tie into one another? Is it like a story that you're building, or is it based on like mythology, or like what do your pieces represent?
Well, I don't have them like fully showing, and it would be hard to like pull the
Yeah.
sleeves up on this. But on this side, I have a Nekomata, and that's like a demon cat with two tails. And on this side, I have a Kitsune. And I've always said that like this is like all the bad luck stuff on this sleeve, and then this one's like good luck because I liked the idea of like the dichotomy. And they have really similar designs like on the forearms
Oh,
because
that's
it's like
amazing.
the
Yeah.
jewels and the flame and stuff. But this one is like a cat, and then on the inner part of my arm, you can kind of see some butterflies. And this whole area is supposed to be like a waterfall with a butterfly. And as it goes further up the waterfall, the wings like get more tattered and torn apart,
Oh,
like it's,
wow.
you know, going on a journey.
Yeah.
And then this one is just like more like good luck symbols, like that's a lucky hammer. And up here's like the torii gate that you see at shrines, which is
Mhm.
also like important part of like the kitsune iconography. But yeah, I guess. Oh, and then on my thighs, like I also have a cat monster. It's like a cat face that's made of other cats. It was actually like it got pretty popular. Like when he posted it, so many people like got the same tattoo done, but like not by him. Like they went to
Uh,
another tattoo artist and tried to get the same design. So I have a cat and a fox on my thighs too that they line up with my body, like with my arms too. So this is like the fox side. This is like the cat so far, but I don't know if I'll keep that like with my whole body. I'll have to think about that. But
yeah.
yeah, I just like having like yokai and like just like mythological creatures. I think they're really cool.
Yeah, they are. And it's like I've noticed, well, before the toy world, I didn't really know much about them. And it's like there's so many out there, and just reading up on it, you could just get lost. Are there any books that you would recommend, actually? I'm making notes right now for somebody that's, looking into the Japanese mythology. Like if there's anything that a good read or anything that you found inspiring.
Well, the book that I found that had the most information about Kitsune was The Fox and the Jewel. And I don't know the author on hand right now, but like I remember that was like a really great resource. That person put so much like time into like carefully curating all the information in that book. Yeah, so if you like Kitsune, look up The Fox and the Jewel and get that book.
Okay, for sure, for sure. Another
Do you
question.
like to
Oh, go
listen
ahead.
to anything
Oh,
during arting? Podcasts, shows,
true crime.
music?
Um, like a lot of the time, I'll just look through YouTube and put whatever on, but sometimes that's like it takes too much of my attention. Like if it's anything that you need to watch, then it takes your eyes away from the artwork, so it's
Yeah.
hard. Um, I'll listen to music, like usually like the lo-fi kind of stuff, you know, or city pop. When I'm like working inside, when I'm airbrushing, I'll just listen to like whatever's on my playlist.
Is there like, do you have like upbeat, fast paced, like techno, disco, or do you have like heavy metal? Like when you have to get in the zone and it's crunch time, what's like your how do you say, like the music that gets you pumped, that gets you,
Pumped.
yeah,
I don't know. I listen to a lot of K-pop, but I listen to like a lot of everything. So, um, also like old like anime opening songs and like J-pop too. So,
I love it.
um, I used to mostly listen to like J-rock or Visual K stuff when I was a teenager. I'm still pretty into that. I'll listen to it like every now and then just for like the nostalgia.
I love it. Yeah. Well, I do like the Spanish rock, which is like super 80s upbeat and just going. So it's like J-rock. I have never heard it before. I'm gonna have to for sure. Oh, thank you, Lost and Creative. He listed the book along with
Oh,
the author.
perfect.
Yeah.
Nice.
So no like podcast shows or no like anything in particular where it's like a dialogue or like for me, if I'm watching a movie, I have to, it cannot be something that's visually stimulating, like you said, because then I'll get stuck and what happened? So it has to be just like kind of mellow shows or a lot of talking. Do you have anything like that where you listen to just conversations?
Well, I've listened to like almost all of the Office Ladies podcast. Um, And I listen to the Always Sunny podcast, and that's been really great lately. Uh, Sometimes I'll listen to like, I'll pick random podcasts that are about like managing anxiety, and I listen to
Oh,
that while
okay.
I'm painting.
Any good ones that you found? I would totally be, I'm like taking all the notes.
I haven't found any that I've really connected with, so I just kind of skip around to like different
Yeah.
ones. As soon as they start like talking about their book too much that they're like trying to sell,
Oh.
then I'm like, I'm not really interested
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. This didn't
There's no
have.
point in that.
Exactly. So another question in the chat was, who was your role model art-wise? If you had one, or if you had a few, or like, who would you say has been a role model
It's
in your art
James
journey?
Jean,
Oh,
who
oh my
I
gosh, that
just
was
met
amazing.
at the
Yeah.
opening of my show. Yeah,
How did that go?
um, well, it was amazing. It was the best part of the whole show. Yeah, and I couldn't have asked for it to like go better because uh, he signed my tote bag and he drew like a little drawing on it. So yeah, it was great. Like I just, fangirled and was like, "You're amazing. I love everything you do." But like then he, walked around the gallery a bit and looked at my art and yeah. So I don't know, it was just a cool experience because I've been looking at his art for a very long time and just have like very distinct memories of being like I don't know, maybe like a teenager or like in my early 20s and like looking at his art and thinking like, wow, this would be like it's so his artwork is just so gorgeous, but then also thinking about like, well, maybe I could do this someday, maybe like if I could just have like a tiny, tiny bit of his talent, maybe I can do this too.
Wow. And then to have him admiring your work. Wow. That had to be so surreal.
Did you guys talk art? Did you ask him for any sort of advice?
No. I was too nervous, but I didn't expect to like get anything, like getting the drawing was enough for me and just being able to meet him. Yeah, that was it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
That's
that's
amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
I do have a question.
Mhm.
As a female making your own toys, especially in Japan, how was that journey for you?
Um, like, what do you mean in particular?
Just how was it dealing with the factories or dealing with the people that are doing your designs and the back and forth? And did they listen to you? Were they reluctant?
I think they've treated me just the same as like everyone else, yeah. So, but if I did ever have like a feeling that I was like being treated like unfairly, then I wouldn't work with them anymore. Yeah.
But
But if,
fortunately, you haven't had much of that, or has that
no, like I feel like I've always been listened to and treated fairly. Yeah.
That's awesome.
so
Being able to get your own things out there like that, it's inspiring.
yeah, definitely inspiring your whole journey, and just seeing as, each project you're developing more into the style and just techniques and everything. It's amazing. Just, and like how you said, thinking back on when you were younger and admiring James Jean, I feel like the same with us when we look at your work, we're inspired.
Yeah.
And yeah, as a female artist, I do kind of feel sometimes it's like it's inspiring, or I feel like to see another female, out there killing it, doing amazing, it inspires me. So I don't know how many other women out there trying to be artists or trying to, get into the niche. I don't know if there's any like reluctancy or any issues. So I guess, I mean, if there, in the event that there were, would there be any kind of like words of encouragement or advice that you would give to a woman that might have like any reservations or anything like that?
I guess if you just feel like you're being treated differently or poorly, then yeah, don't work with those people anymore. I don't really know what kind of like you will. So like being a female in the toy industry, it's there's good and bad sides to it. Like the good thing is that you will stand out, but you know that's also a bad thing is that you stand out, and sometimes you'll feel like you're being excluded or that it's hard to relate with like other people in the industry or like um maybe people will be like weird about it. So I don't know, but and like I think so. What I observed in my travels was that in general, it's just really hard for women to make it in this industry because a lot of it requires you to travel to make it out to these events and have a presence there. And that's how you like really grow your fan base and grow as an artist. And there were a few times where I would see other female artists that would try to make it out to like a show in like Thailand or something, and they wouldn't be able to make it because they had to stay home because like their kid got sick or something, or like they had no one else to like watch their animals, you know, and so a lot of it was like based around children, though I observed, and I can see that being a hard thing of like making the decision to travel and like you know having your someone else care for your kid in that time. That I can understand that struggle, but it's hard for me to relate because I've never had children. But I imagine that like creates a whole extra layer of making it really really hard to like you know get into this industry.
So it's like if you're wanting to be part of the industry, regardless of male or female, it's like you're trying to make sure that you're ready to prepare for these events, to attend the events in person. That's kind of one of the things that'll help them. Any other things or words of inspiration or advice or anything that you would throw out there to the audience, the artists that are, because we have a good amount of artists here too. So if there's anything else that comes to mind.
I'll try to think of something.
I know.
I'm
It's like we're putting you on the
struggling.
spot for all the.
It's probably one of those things where like afterwards I will be like, damn, I should have said this, you know, but like I yeah, it's hard for me to think of something on the spot. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. Yeah, I know. It's like
No, that's
all these
fine.
questions. I'm the same way too. Like I'll be like,
I don't know
I
what to
paint
say. I
toys.
wouldn't know what to
Yeah,
say
I
to
don't know
that
what to say.
either.
Yeah, it's like yeah. Anything that you want to bring to the audience's attention or talk about before we close out? Because we're already at the hour mark. So if there's any events that you have coming up or anything, the floor is yours.
Well, I guess now that I'm back from the show, I'm mostly preparing for this show that will be at Black Pearl's Gallery in Japan. So I'm painting some of their toys. It's called Happy. And then I'm painting some more of my Kitsura toy for that show. They also want to include artists like paintings, like on canvas and stuff. So I'm working on a new painting for that show. And it kind of just feels like from here it's going to be like just leading up to like preparation for DesignerCon, which is like the show that I always attend every year, except for the one year that it was online only.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going to that. Do either of you attend DesignerCon?
Yes, my first time was last year
Oh,
Same.
going.
wow.
Same. That
Cool.
was
So
my
you
first.
plan on going this year too?
Hopefully, we'll see how that goes at the moment.
Oh, yeah, no, same. I had never been to conventions before last year, ever. So last year I actually boothed for the first time. So it was a bit intimidating. I didn't get to actually walk the floor very much, but that was really exciting. So hopefully we'll get to see you this year at DCon. I did have one last question.
Mhm.
Juan Panda needs to know your favorite anime.
Like of all time or just at the moment?
I know, yeah. I guess of all
Go
time.
with both. Go with both.
Yeah.
Oh no. That's putting me
Another
on the
on
spot
the
again.
spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't when as soon as someone says like what's your favorite blah blah blah, then I can't think of anything.
Yeah, you
Like
have to.
the only thing like so I know it's fresh in my mind because I just watched a video about it, but like I'm super looking forward to Chainsaw Man. That was one of my favorite manga that I've read recently. The anime is coming out soon. Can't wait to see it. I've been watching Comey Can't Communicate, which is like I wouldn't really say it's my favorite.
Oh,
It's
I
just
like that
fun.
one.
Yeah,
It
it's
is fun.
cute. Yeah. Um, those are the only ones that are fresh in my mind at the moment. I'm sorry.
Well, there we go. That works for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for meeting with us and chatting and hanging out. We really appreciate you taking the time out, especially this early in the morning.
Thanks for having me. Thank you for pushing it back to 10. That was perfect. Yeah, and it's been really fun talking with you both. Thank you for having me here.
Of course.
Yeah,
Well, I
of
hope
course.
everybody enjoys their Sunday, and thank you again for watching. Bye.
Bye.